Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about structure. And what I have today is three things, and the third one is structure. The first two kind of lead up into structure. And the skill that we're going to talk about today is going to help you as an athlete, but it's not just going to help you as an athlete, it's going to help you for pretty much everything else you do in your life. And especially life after sports, and maybe even outside of sports today for you as a student, or anything else you're trying to get done in life outside of sports. And so I want to kick it off. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is organization. And so I'm a firm believer if you can be organized in your life, you're going to have a better chance in having good structure and having a game plan and being way more efficient and actually getting the things done that you want to get done. And I think almost every successful person, whether it's an athlete or a non-athlete, they have some organization in their life. And I'm not even talking about like having a clean room, although that can help. I'm talking about having organized thoughts of what you want to do for the day, an organized schedule for what you want to do throughout the day, and an understanding of putting things in place. And again, I'm not talking physically at home. I'm talking about when is the best place and time to do this. And so if you can have some organization in your life with your tasks, with the daily things you need to do at home, in school, on the ball field, anything at all, and have everything in a proper place, it makes everything else easier. And it also makes anticipation a lot easier. And anticipation is a huge part of it. Because in everything that you do, you are anticipating what's going to happen beforehand. Everything that you do. Driving a car, you see the road is turning left. You're anticipating turning the steering wheel. Walking down the street, you're anticipating which step is going to go next. You're anticipating what's ahead of you. You're anticipating what you see, right? Everything that you're doing, your schoolwork, right? You're anticipating what's next. What's the teacher going to ask next? What's the next question, right? When is my homework due? When is the test? It's constant anticipation of what's coming next. And so anticipation becomes a lot easier when you're organized. When you're not organized, when you're living a sloppy lifestyle, it makes it a lot easier and a lot more stressful as well. And so we'll start with that. Get organized with what you want to do, right? Jot it down on paper. Jot down the things you want to improve. Jot down the tasks you need to do. Jot down the tasks you want to do. Understand the difference between the things you need to do and want to do. For example, you need to do your homework. You need to go to practice. You might want to play a video game. You might want to eat a snack. Understand the difference as well between the things that you need to do and want to do and some of the things that maybe fall in between the two. Try to think about what's reality here. Try to think about, is it a need or a want? For example, you might want to do a workout to get stronger and faster. But maybe in reality, that's a need right now for your game to get better. And so is this thing that you have in front of you, this task, is it more of a need or a want? And get your priorities in order. Make sure your needs come first. That way your wants can come second. And once your needs are done first, you'll enjoy your wants more. Think about that. When you get your needs, right, your top priorities done first, the things that you have to do, the wants become a lot more enjoyable. You get home, you get your homework done, you know you've studied for the test that you have tomorrow. Now if you go play a video game, you can actually relax and know that you've actually taken care of everything for today and it's done with. But if you get home and you play the video game first for 2 hours, you're going to have that constant thought in your head the whole time that, man, I got to study for that test. Man, I got to study for that test, or I got to do my homework. And so be organized and have your priorities in order here. Start with your tasks. jot down your task on a notebook or in your notes section on your phone. List them down, list them in order, and then from there, you need to put your task into a schedule. And so that's number 2 here, is a schedule. So get organized. Get organized with the tasks you need to do, people you need to talk to, places you got to go, everything. And then fit those things into your schedule. And now, when you have a good schedule that you can follow and follow strictly and not just abandon it, you can have some structure. And so organization leads to better scheduling, leads to better structure in your life. And if you have structure, your chances of succeeding are way better. Your chances of accomplishing what it is you want to accomplish increase tremendously. And it's really not even always working harder. It's actually just working more efficiently. It's having more clarity. It's spending less time thinking about what it is you have to do. And it's more so just about following the playbook, follow the game plan, right? You pick the play. You anticipate before the play happens. And now you have a better chance to execute the play, right? Are you doing that for your life? Are you going through your playbook before the ball's snapped? Right? Have you picked the best strategy for you? Right? Are you organized there? Is your schedule in order? Okay, and so now have you given yourself the best chance to be the most efficient you can be? Are you giving yourself the best chance to succeed? Do you have a clear mind and a clear thought, a clear focus as to what it is you're trying to do? And when you do have that, again, your chances to achieve it, your chances for success go up tremendously. From what I've experienced, your happiness goes up tremendously. Your joy in what you're doing goes up. Right? You start to have more fun. You start building some momentum now. We talked about momentum in a podcast previously and how important that is. When you can get positive momentum, it's so much easier to stay into that state. It's so much easier to now let one good day flow into 2 good days, flow into 3, into a good week. And it's also so easy to let one bad day flow into 2 bad, to 3 bad, to maybe even a week. And so if you can follow your game plan and stick to it, you got a good chance. But before that, you got to create it. You got to create the game plan. And you've got to put it down on paper and writing in your phone, something. It can't just be a thought in your head. And I've tried that for years. And it's never worked as efficiently compared to actually jotting it down. Again, putting it down in a notebook physically, or actually typing this into your phone somewhere where it's saved. Put down words onto paper, what it is you're going to do, what it is your tasks are, what it is your schedule is going to be. And really, you only need to do it day by day, right? Because we can only handle one day at a time. You only need to prepare for one day at a time. You only need to execute one day at a time. You only need to execute one day at a time. But I think we need to prepare for the week beforehand at a minimum. And so every Sunday night, if you can pull out this notebook or you pull out your notes app and you figure out your game plan for the week, now before each day starts, you know what you're going to do. And again, it starts with tasks. You jot down all your tasks, the things that need to get done. And then from there, you put them into place, into your schedule of which day and which time you're going to do this. And now you're starting to create structure. Now you're starting to create some positive momentum. And you get a rhythm where now you can do this more efficiently each day. You're starting to build up some consistency. The hardest part to start this is the beginning. If you can get this going early on in the beginning, it's going to be so much easier to then keep it going. And so that's the same for anything, though. The hardest thing for anything you're doing is the beginning. right? Figuring it out. In the beginning of anything, you don't have any knowledge of what you're doing, and you have to work the hardest to get it going. And then once you get it going, once you get some structure, now over time, you have something that hopefully is sustainable and can work for you long term. And that's related for your athletic career and your career outside of sports. That's related to you getting good grades right now, and whatever grade you're in, whatever stage you're at in high school, college, or maybe in your career right now outside of school, outside of sports. The biggest thing you've got to understand is it's all full circle. It's all related. There's different stages in life. There's different phases, but without the structure, we're not going to get anywhere. And so the earlier you can figure this out, the better off you're going to be for the rest of your life. The better off you're going to be long term. So I got some homework for you. Pull out a notebook, and before you even start your schedule, before you even start your tasks of what you need to do, start journaling, start brainstorming on what it is that you believe in. What are your passions? What are your goals? What are the things you like to do? What are the things you don't like to do? What are the things you have to do? What are the things you don't have to do? Right? Start figuring out your life essentially right now, but put it on paper. And I bet you'll start to realize things. I'll bet you some things will stand out to you, and you'll start to catch yourself on what are the adjustments you need to make, right? What are the things that you don't really need in your life right now that you can eliminate to let your structure flow better? What are the things you need to add into your life to create a better routine, a healthier lifestyle, a better mental routine? Just setting yourself up for the best chance to start finding joy in what you're doing again. Whatever it is, start journaling these things. Start jotting them down and start figuring out, what do I want my life to look like? What I want it to look like next year, but even next month. And maybe even 5 or 10 years down the road. But I wouldn't spend all of your time on that, because that's most likely going to change along the way. But definitely have a timeline. Have a timeline. Have some destinations of where you want to go. And I'm not talking about like vacations. I'm talking about your life, your career, your athletic career. And if your athletic career doesn't take you to where you want to go, understanding that that's number one, okay, but number two, having a list of passions of things that you can now shift into. And I think for 99% of us, that's the case. It was for me. Even being drafted in the third round, having a really good chance to make it to the major leagues. It comes to a point where you got to find the plan after that. And there's still several guys too as well who do make it to the major leagues, and maybe it's only a year or two, and then what's the plan after that? And truthfully, even the guys who have a 10-year career, 10 years actually goes by quicker than you think, right? It's been more than 10 years since I got drafted. And so what's the plan after that? Do you have some structure where you can put your passions into a schedule and make it more structured and have more clarity in your life and be more efficient with what you're trying to do, which in turn will then bring you more joy and happiness throughout the process of what you're doing as well. And so that's all for this one, guys. Stay tuned. Going to keep them rolling. I'm going to try to go once a week here at a minimum. And subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what you want to hear next. Got a whole list of future podcast topics that I want to bring to you guys, and I appreciate you listening.